Happy Wednesday. It's day 13 of Walking with Winston. Walk with Winston, day 13. Live from Tampa, Florida again today. It is hot and muggy, but that is to be expected. It is August. We are in the tropical season here in Florida. So I'm coming to you a little bit later than normal. I have already put in 3 miles of my 5-mile walk this morning. Had my Starbucks stop to kind of reflect and prepare for the day, set my intentions for the day, and now I'm out here recording this for you. Today, the topic is part 2 of our Win the Gift series. Yesterday we talked about change and mindset and how sometimes reframing change as a game can really help you propel and get momentum in terms of the change that you are contemplating and pursuing. We talked about how Roger Bannister didn't really buy into the mindset that a 4-minute mile was going to have his heart explode, or some other scientific proof that he couldn't achieve his winnable goal, and how mindset really plays such an important part, particularly in the beginning stages of change, to help us get momentum. I was having a conversation last night about this, around how, as we get momentum, it becomes this flywheel effect of, we see momentum, we start taking action, we start getting momentum, the momentum builds upon each other, we start seeing incremental results. That encourages us to pursue the change with more vigor and more enthusiasm and more inspiration. And so it just builds upon itself. It stacks and stacks and stacks. Tony Robbins talks a lot about stacking those positive experiences in our life. Stacking those one upon another is really the foundation for significant change. And so, how do we create that initial momentum? We've referenced this metaphor before, that the rocket taking off from the launch pad consumes the most amount of fuel and energy in the first few seconds or minutes of the flight. And then once that momentum gets going, it requires a lot less fuel to keep going. So I preface all that to say that I think this first foundational step of winning, imagining the change as winnable, is so foundational to this work, because it's in doing that we begin to incorporate more and more belief and faith that we can achieve the change. So I can't underemphasize in my own life how important it is to have certainty in the midst of uncertainty. So change pushes all of our buttons when it comes to uncertainty in our life. It's like the trapeze artist who grabs the bar and swings across the netting to the other side, and at some point they have to let go of the bar. They have to be suspended in midair to catch the bar on the other side. And they have to go through this period of certainty while they're holding onto the bar, and there's this moment of uncertainty of whether they will catch the other bar. So I think, and most of us do not like or appreciate uncertainty. We like to know what the plan is. We like to know how we're going to get there. We like to know what it's going to take. And I think I've referenced this before in an earlier video. I am so thankful that in a lot of my prayers, I'm looking for those kind of answers. And I'm so thankful that God only illuminates the path just a few steps in front of me, or sometimes not at all. Because if I really understood everything that He was going to ask of me to do in this life, I'm not sure that I know I wouldn't feel properly equipped or prepared or gifted to do those things, and I probably wouldn't even pursue those. So He's blessing us with just enough insight and just enough experiences to get going. So stepping through that cone of uncertainty, what propels us? I've thought about that a lot the last day or so. What gets that momentum going? Well, I also think that God permits just enough discomfort in our life that we know we need to take action. So to give you some examples from a weight loss perspective, what would be some of the discomforts about carrying too much weight that would propel one to consider changing their path? Well, let's see. About 10 days ago, I was on a flight back from DC to Tampa, and I was blessed with a middle seat coach, middle row coach seat. I'm 6'7". I am over 300 pounds. And the way they have shoehorned regular sized people into airline seats, particularly in coach, makes that particularly discomforting for someone of my height and weight. And it caused discomfort. It caused discontent. Enough that I wanted to complain to American Airlines for reseating me in that space. Well, as I said, it's not so much that I was complaining to American Airlines for the lack of space and particularly reseating me from an aisle to a middle seat. I was really just uncomfortable with myself that allowed myself to get to that weight, because when I was thinner, the knee room issue is the knee room issue. But when you're thinner, you can pivot a little bit in the seat, side to side, maybe get a little bit more, just enough of an angle so that the knee isn't hitting against the back of the seat in front of you. But when your hips fully fill the seat on both sides, you can't do that. So I believe God sometimes allows just enough discomfort, or in some cases a lot of discomfort, to motivate us to action. Well, how does that relate to winning? You know, athletes, when they're preparing for the Olympics or a significant game event, they visualize over and over a positive outcome. Our friend Chris Pavone, on his Instagram feed a couple weeks ago, visualized himself at the front of a stage receiving an ovation for doing a speech. It was powerful. It was a powerful visualization. It was a powerful internal commitment to himself that he could be an international public speaker. So, how do we take that discomfort, whatever that catalyst is that's helping us consider changing something significant in our life, how do we begin to visualize that winning shot, that winning speech, that winning achievement of our goals? So for me, in the weight loss journey, my visualizations start with remembering me at a fit place, a fit weight. And so on my bathroom mirror, I have two pictures of myself from maybe 4 or 5 years ago, where I was probably about 80 pounds less than what I am right now. And it was, I considered it a little bit of an unhealthy weight. It was right at the cusp of a super healthy weight and a weight that was maintainable. So I'd say it was at the lower end of that range. But nonetheless, it is a hyper motivating photo to see every morning in my bathroom mirror, because I look at the picture, I look at the picture, I look at my face, I see a gap, It creates a bit of discomfort in my soul to see that difference, but it also reinforces the success that I had at that point. I have achieved and maintained that level of health for a very long time in my adult life, and it's extremely doable again. So that is a visual reminder, a visualization exercise I do to imagine that healthy, fit, vibrant guy that can serve tons more people in my work, in my vocation. So winning, it takes not only that visualization, but it takes that core belief that I can achieve it. It takes faith that I can achieve it with God's help and with me taking action. It's doable. It's totally doable. And so, did you do the homework I asked you last night or yesterday to consider? What is that goal? What is that winning measure of success that you're striving for in your life? What is it that is so compelling and so motivating that will drive you through the early stages of liftoff in your change? It's got to be rock solid in your mind, and it's got to be rock solid in your heart, that you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it, you can smell it, and you can craft a picture. I'm a visual person, so I like to speak in visual metaphors. Others like to experience this emotion in other ways. But for me, I have to see it to believe it. It's one of those truisms that's very important to me. But faith also says that we have to believe it before we'll see it. Something to think about. So with that, guys, I hope that you can begin to visualize your winning outcome. One of the questions I like to ask people that I work with is, so if we were sitting down 3 years from now and having a conversation, what would have had to change for you to feel totally fulfilled and totally fulfilled in your life? What one thing would have had to have changed in 3 years for you to feel totally fulfilled in your life? Well, less than 3 years from now, I'll have a milestone birthday. And so for me, this is an 18-month journey, not a 3-year journey. And I have an absolute picture in my mind as to the physical transformation that I will have experienced in these next 18 months. Looks a lot like the pictures on my bathroom mirror. And yet I can picture it so vividly, it's so concretely. I'm stepping into that new identity. So I hope you can begin to think about that question. 3 years from now, what has to have changed in your life to make you feel totally fulfilled? And if that doesn't motivate you, let me turn it around and give it to you a different way. If 3 years from now we were having a conversation and it didn't change, how would you feel? So, some people are motivated by, the positive outcome that they're seeking, and other people are motivated by avoidance of pain. So, not knowing who you are and what motivates you, I'll offer both of those up to you for your consideration. Think about that today, and let's take action. Let's just not listen to videos. Let's not just be people that consume information, but let's take positive daily steps towards our goals. And by the way, in this link today, in the description of this video, I've put a link to a Google Doc where I'm trying to find out more about information about you and the changes that you're seeking. And if I can be of service to you in the change that you are considering, this is a simple form for you to fill out that will help us figure out whether we'd be a good fit to work together. Been asked by some friends if I can help them in their change journey, and so it's something I'm considering offering as a service to people who are contemplating significant life change. So if that's you and you're interested in working with me, and I can be of service to you, take a look at that link, fill out the form, and we'll have a call. We'll have a chat and see if there's something I could do to be of service to you. With that, guys, have a great Wednesday. I'll talk to you soon.